Welcome to our first installment of Tea Time with Mr. D. I believe that name's going to stick. I am Mr. Denniston, the choir and broadcasting teacher here, and this is my tea. And we have a guest here today. Before we get to that, the whole reason we are doing this thing is for two reasons. The first one is we want to get to know some people here at Northside Middle School and get to know a little bit more about them, maybe some teachers here, and maybe just some people who are connected for the students to get to know just a little bit more about who they are. The second thing is that we actually have a whole crew of students behind the scenes working on this. The person that's actually my boss today is Sophia. Sophia, how's it going today?
It is going great. We're so good.
I got
So
it.
Sophia, how's it going today? Am I doing okay? Are my levels okay? Am I smiling enough? Am I fine?
Yeah, you're okay.
Okay, that's not the response. That's
Okay,
not
fine,
the response I was looking
Okay,
for.
you're
Now,
doing great.
I see that you have a whole crew back there. Can you introduce who do you have on what, doing what in there?
Okay, so Raiden, go stand up. Okay.
Right.
So Raiden's doing the lights and stuff. Hunter is doing directing and camera stuff.
I
And
changed
then Verity-
cameras.
What?
I changed the cameras.
Yeah, he's so
Yeah.
cool. Verity is doing the soundboard.
I'm the soundboard. I'm
Okay,
pretty cool.
That's so cool. And then Alexis is doing the cameras in the room. I don't think there's a shot of that.
And
And then I'm
hopefully
here and I'm
she's
just
not.
talking because, yeah.
And you're just talking. All right, fantastic.
hopefully
Hunter,
she's
if you want
not
to change that
using
back to me anytime. Now, there we go. All righty. So this is kind of our thing of, I wanted to give the students the opportunity to completely be on their own. And I'm sure this will be a fine thing. But without further ado, I want to get to our guest. When I thought about doing this segment and we talked about doing all these different talk show kind of stuff, there's one person that came to mind of who I'd want as the first guest, and that is Mr. Harter, who is here with us today. Mr. Harter, how are you doing today?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, and you've got your tea there. You've got.
I do indeed. Thank you.
Yes,
I like tea.
Yeah, it's a green tea. It's decaffeinated. I don't know. Are you a tea drinker at all?
I am.
You are.
Yeah.
Are you a coffee drinker as well?
I'm not.
I'm not either. I used to be, but I got some dehydration issues, so tea it is for me. But that's why we came up with the idea of tea time with Mr. D. Now, Mr. Harter, we're very excited to have you here today. And first off, tell us, what do you do here at Northside? Obviously, you're a teacher, but what grades do you teach, and what do you teach?
I teach 6th and 7th grade. 6th grade, I teach the PLTW App Creators class, and 7th grade, I teach the Computer Science for Innovators and Makers class for PLTW as well.
Okay, so all the PLTW, and then again, for people who don't understand, PLTW is what? Project Lead the Way, which
Project Lead the Way,
encompasses
yeah.
what?
It encompasses a lot of the STEM technology, technology, engineering, and math.
Okay.
It is more of a computer class. The App Creators is more coding, and the Computer Science is more of the hands-on, doing that in the real world.
Great.
Computing solutions, yeah.
So the sixth graders, they take App Creators.
Mm-hmm.
And so what in that, I was watching a clip recently. We did a clip with someone who used to be in this program, Drevin, and he did this whole "What do you love about Northside" thing. And in the clip, he went up to somebody, and it was during lunch, like when they had the Chromebooks out at lunch, and they were like, I thought they were playing a game, but they're actually making an app. Was this probably someone from your class?
Yep.
So is
It
that
was
the
probably
program?
either PLTW or Scratch. A lot of them use Scratch to make all kinds of different programs. It's really neat.
And so they make games and stuff like that.
Yep.
Stuff. And then when you get into 7th grade and then beyond, it kind of gets a little bit more advanced. Is that?
Exactly. And then I know there's an 8th grade class that Mr. Jenkinson teaches that is medical detectives.
Okay.
So it kind of, each grade levels up a little bit as you were.
Yeah, and I know too, I benefit here in Titan TV because a lot of those people come from your classes, and you know, when I'm like, hey, this is how we do this, like, we know. We created it. You know, it's
Yep.
that kind of thing. So,
Yep.
so that's awesome. Well, Mr. Harter, one of the questions we always want to ask people when they are here is this question of, what were you like in middle school? Because personally for me, my middle school experience wasn't the best. It was okay. I wasn't a fan of going to school each day. I was one of those who had some attendance issues and stuff. It wasn't until I got halfway through middle school that I ended up liking it and stuff. So it wasn't the best of times. What were you like in middle school?
I was kind of the opposite. I went to school every day because that got me out of my house.
Yeah, I get
Which
that.
is a whole different, yeah. My mom would say, well, you can stay home today. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'll go to school. Thanks. I have an older sister.
Okay.
And she loved to come home and teach me the things she learned at school. So by the time I got to school, I kind of learned a lot of that stuff. So I picked things up pretty quick.
Okay.
Problem for me was I got bored real quick because I learned stuff pretty fast. And then I'm wanting to talk to everybody because I moved so much when I was a kid. I had to make new friends all the time. And that's why part of the reason I'm as outgoing as I am.
Yeah.
Because I had to make new friends. So I'm talking to people, and that's what usually got me into trouble.
So do you have like a town or state you call home or anything? Or, I mean, where all were you moving from?
I lived all over Indiana, Texas. Just every time I'd live with mom, dad would move, and every time I'd live with dad, mom would move. And I went to 7th and 8th grade the same year and 11th and 12th grade the same year.
Wow.
Every other year I went to a different school.
Wow.
Like every other year. It was, yeah.
Yeah, so on top of the middle school experience, which is all about there's everybody changing and stuff like that. On top of that, you're also moving locations. Your location is changing too, so
Yes.
that probably was a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
So, what would your teachers say, Mr. Harter or Tony Harter at that time was? Did they call you Tony
Yeah.
then?
Yeah. If I was in trouble, I usually got Anthony. But
Oh,
yeah,
oh no.
you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Most of the time, my mom has notes from 2nd grade till I think she said 7th or 8th grade that said more or less the same thing, and she'd showed them to me 20 years ago. That he's a bright kid and he could do so much better if he applied himself.
Yeah.
Which yeah. Yeah.
And then now you're teaching
Yeah.
middle school, and you've probably had to say those same things.
Oh yeah,
you know.
absolutely. But it's one of those things that I understand, and I think that's the danger in a lot of what we do is that people forget what it was like to be 11 and 12. Mm-hmm. And on the other side of that, 11 and 12-year-olds sometimes, for whatever reason, think adults are just dumb. I never understood, and even back then, I don't know why I thought that, but I did. So it's trying to meet them kind of in the middle and work through the situations that they're dealing with, because I remember it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. So, middle school for me was when I found out I wanted to be a music teacher. It was when I was in 7th grade and stuff like that. I know your journey has been not a straight path of becoming a teacher now and having to write those notes home. So what originally did you want to do? Maybe like in middle school, or when did you decide what you want to do, and what was it originally?
It started, I think, probably when I was early in high school, because I'd always, had family and friends and younger cousins and stuff like that. I always liked kids and being around kids. And then when I started to get into high school, there was a class called home ec. Back a million years ago. I don't know that they do those anymore. And I remember taking that class thinking, genius idea, right? Because it was me and 16 other girls. So, yeah, my friends were like, "Will you take that class for?" I'm like, "Dude, there's 16 girls in here. What are you talking about?" And then I always liked to work and help people. And then over the years, that just, when I had kids, and I enjoyed spending time with them and then helping their friends. And then as I kind of got older, I thought, well, I like working with kids. And as they grew up, they played on sports teams, and I went and helped coach and do all that stuff. So I thought, well, that's kind of fun. And then I got to a point where the kids were grown and gone, and I started looking for something to do because I'd worked in manufacturing for 30-some years. And it wasn't
really?
bad.
What did you do in manufacturing?
CNC machining and coding and stuff like that. So I'd been working computers adjacent kind of stuff for a long, long time.
And that's probably changed a lot over the
Oh
years
yes,
too.
and I've built computers since I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So it was always a hobby I loved to do. So then my girlfriend said, "Why don't you work with kids? You're so good with kids." And I thought, okay. So then I looked up, what a teacher makes. And I thought, well, that's around what I'm making now, which is, it's not about the money.
Right.
I want to do something that I care about. Yeah. And so I started college at 48.
Wow.
And graduated at 51.
That's a huge step. I mean, were you nervous at all, going back to college, or just like 48? I mean, a lot of people just by that point are in their career, they're going to stay that path or retire that way, and probably that was your thought originally, but.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where I got up and I went to work every day, and I made good money, but it's not about that anymore.
Right.
My sons were in their 20s, and they were living their lives and doing their thing, and I thought, I hate this job. So I have two choices. I can either be miserable for the rest of my life, or I can get off my behind and do something about it. And I thought, you know what? I need to do something about it. And I looked around, and it took me about a year to figure out what I wanted and where I wanted to go, because it's a huge commitment.
Yeah.
So, and I talked to several people. I know some people who were teachers and all that, and I thought, you know what, this is something I can do, because I want to help people. So that's why I started, and I went through WGU, and it was all online, and you know, I didn't have to go sit in a building for 9 hours. And the thing I loved about their program is you pay a flat rate for 6 months.
Okay.
You have to get a 12 credits minimum. That's to carry the college load, but there was no maximum.
Okay.
So I tested out of 4 or 5 classes.
See, there's that student all over again.
And that's the thing. It's one of those things that I wasn't nervous about it, because the good thing about coming to this later in life, as it were, I was a non-traditional college student, is that I had the confidence and the experience to know I can do this. Mm-hmm. It may not turn out exactly the way I want it to every time on every level, but I know I can handle it, because I've been able to handle so many things in the past.
That's awesome.
So that gave me the confidence to get that done, and I was motivated, because I did not like the company I was working for at all.
Yeah. But boy, that's a great lesson of the fact of, like, you were 48, you said, and you made the decision of, I'm not liking where I'm, you know, how things are and stuff like that. I'm going to change. I'm going to do something different. I mean, I think that's something that our middle schoolers can learn today. Of, you know, there's some, I've had students that have come in and been like, man, my behavior this year just isn't going the right way, and you can make that change.
Yeah.
You can do something, but also later in life you can do the same thing too, which is
it's never too late.
It's never too late. Maybe it gets a little bit harder, but
yeah, it can. But I mean, I think, like I said, for me, because it'd been 20-some years since I was in school when I started college, but I got a 4-year degree in 3 years, and I always tell the kids, how did I do that? Because I'm a genius? No, not at all. It's and I mean, Mr. Williams says it. It's simply the willingness to do the work. Yeah, that's all this is. It's really not a secret. I mean, he says it is, and I get why he says that, but it's the easiest thing to do. Just do the work, and your life will be so much easier.
Yeah, referring to this whole the secret is effort.
Yep.
I understand that. I understand that from the other side of things, of the fact that I tell people I crammed 4 years of college into 5. And it was purely because
Sure, the college experience.
Yeah, you know, other things distracted me, but we got there. So, but that's awesome. So you've been a teacher how long now? And did you start out in Northside as a teacher?
I did.
Okay.
I did. The fun part of that was I kept being told, and I student taught at Daleville.
Okay.
And had a wonderful teacher that mentored me there. And you know, people were saying, and I did some substituting at Yorktown and Daleville and East Washington Academy after I finished my degree, before the next school year started. But that was the year that Ball State took over Muncie.
Okay.
So there was a huge exodus from Muncie to the surrounding counties. So all these jobs that people said, oh yeah, we'll hire you. They vanished. Yeah. So Mr. Grimm called me on Wednesday.
Who used to be the principal?
And this was 6 years ago. I interviewed on Thursday. He offered me the job on Friday. Monday school started.
Wow, yeah.
Hi-oh. Yeah, off you go.
Tough.
And then 3 weeks later, I died. So that was my first year teaching.
Yeah, I was wondering when you were going to bring that up. Yeah. All right, we got to take a little route into that. But here, we'll do that here in a second. But over there in control booth, Sophia, things still going okay over there? You guys still working fine?
I mean, we haven't died yet, so like.
Oh, okay. I feel like this was a shot at you.
There's a theme here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. It's not fun.
Yeah.
My job is so hard. I push buttons all day.
Yeah. Okay. So, Hunter, if you want to push the button back to me, that'd be great. Anytime. There we go. So, Sophia, I think now's a good time for us to take a question. Eventually, we'll take questions from from our social media and stuff. Just didn't have time to do that. But I asked Sophia to come up with a question for us, or it can be just for Mr. Harter. I don't care. That's fine. But do you have a question for us that we could answer real quick?
Okay, Mr. Harter, serious question. Is it envelope or envelope?
Either are acceptable.
Okay, but like, what do you say?
Data or data? Yes.
Mr. Harter, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to.
Just like
you're
that.
going to have
You gotta give me an answer.
Honestly, there is no correct answer here.
Both
are acceptable.
What do you usually say?
Yes.
I
I will use envelope or envelope.
I have a question.
All right.
Because again, both are, like data or data. Both are acceptable. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
All right, this comes from in choir, for some reason it came up. We were working hard. All right, we were working hard.
Sure.
But we started talking about
Well, these questions happen. Sure.
envelope and
working real
envelope.
hard.
And I say envelope, all right? And those monsters in there say envelope, and it's ridiculous. But what was ridiculous too was one of the students, JP, he said, he gave the answer of, it is envelope because you put it in the envelope. And I was like, that just doesn't make sense.
I mean, it works though.
What's a velope?
Exactly. That's my point.
Okay.
I think that's a colloquialism.
All right, you've lost me there now.
It's a regional dialect.
Okay,
Yes.
great. I'm learning
I don't
things.
think I've
It's
ever
like
heard
how
a
people
longer
in
conversation
like
about an envelope.
Minnesota,
It took
right, where they fish on the lake,
Yeah.
where they talk like this,
I've got
And-
in-laws in Wisconsin,
and
they,
Baston, where they pack the candy.
Yeah.
It's just the way it's a regional manner of speaking. So I think that's where envelope and envelope come in.
Yeah. See, I was hoping we could get a straight answer because you've been everywhere, you've lived everywhere. So if anybody should have the
Yeah,
answer.
we need an answer. For
I mean,
this
honestly, I
question.
think that's why either are acceptable because it depends on the region you grew up in and what you heard.
All right. Well, I think it's a cop-out, but that's just me. So,
Sometimes there's more than one right answer.
Excuse me,
you have another
close.
question?
tengo una
There it
pregunta. It's Hunter's pregunta.
Un poco.
All right, Hunter, go
You
ahead
don't,
and
have,
ask
you
that
don't have
question.
to speak in Spanish, but I have a question for you, Mr. Harter. So, with the autumn season coming up soon, what are your thoughts on fall? And furthermore, pumpkins?
This is random. What?
Fall's awesome because it's not fire hot.
That's fair.
Pumpkins are fun to carve up and do
Why did you
Halloween
ask
stuff
that
with.
question?
Because it was relevant.
And
What is
also
RMC?
fun to throw at people that annoy you with questions
wait,
like this.
How about this? Do you like the Starbucks pumpkin spice latte?
Yeah, not a Starbucks guy. Not a coffee.
All right.
Yeah, not
What's
a coffee person. Sorry.
What about you, Mr. Denniston?
My wife has gone into the, she's not a coffee person either, but she likes the chai tea. And so her order is a chai tea with pumpkin cold foam with cinnamon. And that's the secret, is you put cinnamon in it too, a pump of
Sounds
cinnamon.
good.
I've tried it, it actually is okay. But
Okay.
I think the correct fall question would be and candy corn. Do you like candy corn?
Yes,
All right.
I do.
The big question, do you like the pumpkins in the candy corn?
Actually, my favorite way to have the candy corn is something that my girlfriend, she took peanuts and put them in a bowl and put the candy corn in there. And when you take a handful of it mixed together, it tastes just like a payday.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
I'm sorry. For me, that's the worst. That's the worst candy bar ever. A payday.
Really?
But I hate peanuts. So it's
That would
going
be
to be
why.
the worst because
Yeah,
what is
and-
the payday?
and-
It's peanut with
Sure.
like a little
Caramel
thin,
and nougat? What's nougat?
There's
What's-
no caramel.
Nougat's a myth.
Also, it's caramel, but there's no
Really?
caramel in there. There's
Is it
just-
caramel or caramel?
No, it's glue that's inside the
It's
payday.
caramel.
Caramel? No, caramel's a city. Caramel
No, it's
is a
caramel.
treat.
Hunter, that's a strong take.
See, that's what I'm saying. But he comes with it, right? But what's nougat? I mean,
I think it's the stuff that's in a fig Newton.
yeah, it's just
Is
it's
it-
something they make up, and it's like fruitcake. They
Or-
just mix it all together.
Right, or in what's in those generic brand Pop Tarts?
Yes, whatever that is. Yeah,
Awful.
yeah. Packing peanuts? No.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No, I'm not much of a candy guy, but peanuts and peanut butter is my weakness. Peanut M&Ms.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
that's like the
You
only
ever
candy
had
that
one
I'm
of
like,
those,
oh boy.
Yeah, I don't like mixing peanuts with things. Like I like those pillow mints that you get at weddings and stuff like that. But you know, they're white mints. They look
Oh,
like
yes.
a pillow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Or church mints, whatever you want to
Sure,
call them.
I
all right?
gotcha.
People will mess them up, and they'll put peanuts in that thing, and that just annoys me. All right.
Wait,
Those need to
Mr.
be by
Dennison-
themselves.
But it's like pineapple on a pizza, right? It doesn't have to be your thing. If people love it, let them love it. I just won't eat it.
No, I disagree. All right, I
Mr.
disagree.
Dennison, do you call pillows pillows?
We're moving on. All right. Yeah, I call
Again,
pillows
it's a regional pronunciation.
pillows. I do call it pillow, even though it's not spelled like that. Pellow.
That's
I
not
swear,
helping
if
your
you say
envelope
anything about
Artie, you know
Spanish.
that.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys in the control booth. All right. We'll come back to you guys in a minute. Okay. So you brought it up before we went into this other segment here.
Yes.
All right. You weren't kidding. Some people watching probably thought you were kidding, but you weren't kidding.
I wish I was.
You have quote, not quote unquote, but I mean textbook
Textbook definition of
died how many
dead.
times? 3 times?
4 at this point.
Four. Okay. So you've got to go into start as a kid, right? Something
Yeah.
happened as a kid.
2 times when I was 5. They had taken my tonsils out and stitched me up like they do it's the back of your throat, and they did not stitch me up right. So they sent me home the next day, and the stitches tore open, and I was 5. So it was probably about 2.5 inch cut. And all of that is just pouring blood into my stomach. And you are not supposed to ingest blood. Of course, there's too much iron. So of course, it's coming back up. And the ambulance guy showed up, and thankfully, I don't remember most of this. My mom is telling me that he was like, "What did you do to this kid?" And she's like, "I don't know what's going on." So they had to rush me back to the hospital, and in the ambulance on the way, I flatlined. So that means my heart stopped. And they had to pump my stomach and do the CPR thing to get me going again. And as they rushed me into emergency surgery, same thing happened again.
So twice. I mean,
Twice.
Twice you have flatlined.
Within 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my poor parents. I don't remember most of it. I remember waking up the next day and getting to eat lots of ice cream. That's about all I remember of it.
Of course.
Because I was 5. I mean, I was, little.
You got to remember the important things. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I was 51,
You're playing a gig,
we
right?
were playing a gig in Newcastle, and about the second song in, I noticed I had heartburn. And I'm like, well, I never get heartburn. What's going on? It's like, oh, okay. And then about 10 minutes later, I'm thinking, man, if this, because my girlfriend's a singer, thought, man, if this keeps up, I'm gonna have to ask her for some Tums. And then cut to about 40 minutes later, I'm weaving and just sweat pouring, and I'm thinking, what is going on? And I said, we got to stop the set, guys. We got to stop. And they're like, okay, let's take a break. And they're like, what's wrong? I have no idea. I had no clue what was going on. So I said, we need to quit because I don't feel right. And they're like, what's going on? What's up? I'm like, I don't know. And I thought I was, had to get sick. And I mean, I'm in bars all the time. I never drink. People are like, does he drink too much? And my girlfriend's like, no, he doesn't drink. I mean, I don't have any fundamental thing against it. It's just I don't care for the taste much of it. So I went in the bathroom and I passed out. And luckily she followed in right behind me because she knew something was wrong. And she told them, call 911 right now. And they're like, really? She's like, dude, seriously, do it. And next thing I know, I wake up on the floor in the bar and they're cutting my shirt up.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, what's going on? The guy's like, you're having a heart attack. And I'm like, what? And I don't remember. Next thing I know, I wake up in the ambulance and everything hurts. And I'm trying to talk to the guy, but my mouth was so dry. And I said, what is happening? And he said, you're having a massive heart attack. And I remember looking at him, and I quote, I said, nuh-uh. Because if you'd have given me, I've never had trouble with my heart.
Yeah.
I've never had high cholesterol, never had high blood pressure, nothing. I mean, I'm not the picture of fitness, don't get me wrong, but I've never had any heart issues at all. I couldn't believe it. And then, thankfully, I blacked back out again, and then I woke up after the surgery, and that's when they told me, hey, by the way, you coded twice. I said, what does that mean? They said, yeah, your heart stopped. And if we hadn't done something, you're done.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Now, the thing about that story is, I think that story explains what I know about you, and that is that you're one of the few people I think that would be in the middle of having a heart attack and still be playing a gig and continue to play the gig and be like, I might have to take a Tums. We might have to stop for a minute for me to take a Tums. That'd be the worst thing in the world. While you're over there about to code and having your heart stop. I think that story explains a lot about you.
I put a picture up the next day on Facebook. And it was me in the hospital with all the accoutrement, if you will, plugged up to me. And I just was like this. And I said, who played the first set while I'm having a massive heart attack? This guy did. And somebody commented, because that's when I had Facebook like a million years ago. They said, how can you make fun of this? I'm like, how can I not?
I get that.
It was just like, what can you do about it?
You would do that. You would do that. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised one bit.
They're like,
who
you
had
got
a heart
sense
attack?
of humor.
This guy.
I'm like, yeah. But I mean, what can you do, you know?
Yeah.
That there's certain times in life and certain things that happen where you have to roll with the punches and just do what you can to get through that tough time. And I mean, I was black and blue all over, and my chest hurt because they, not only were they, you know, and these guys aren't small paramedics, they're big like firefighter kind of guys, and they're just leaning on my chest because you got to get the heart to do something. And they're using the paddles on me and everything, and I was black and blue all over, and I've never been so happy to hurt so much.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, you mentioned something though. You did this while playing a set, so music obviously means a whole lot to you.
Indeed.
And we're going to cut to a clip here of that. You were nice enough to let us come up and see your office, and one of the things in there, or your classroom, but one of the things in there is your Rush albums and stuff. And so let's take a look at that right now. Mr. Harter, we're in your classroom here, and so it kind of shows around what's the kind of stuff you've got here. You've got a lot of decorations I see and stuff. So explain some of your favorite things here in the room.
Yeah, I have started my shrine to my very favorite band along this wall here. And it's a work in progress like a lot of things in the room, but I'm getting there. For any of those students that have a doubt, this is something that I actually live by. I play games like every day.
Day without gaming.
Yeah.
It's like, just kidding.
Yeah, I have no idea. I
Yeah.
play games every day.
Great.
Because that's a good thing about being responsible. So I can get home and get the things done I need to get done, then I spend the whole time gaming. I have some other decorations. This is our classroom norms.
Can't forget about the norms.
No, gotta have those up so that everybody kind of knows. This is some artwork from former students who are fantastic artists. I am not.
Who made this one?
That was Ashley.
Okay.
Yeah. She drew, where's the little picture? I have it somewhere. She drew that little picture and I said, dude, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, okay. I mean, she finished her work, and 2 weeks later, she came with that. She said, I painted this for you, and I was like,
And then I'm going to take a big guess. Abby?
you bet.
This one, yeah.
Yep.
Who's
I have
that?
some of my Star Wars stuff, my Avengers stuff, my Godzilla stuff that I like. And over here is my shrine to my favorite band. It is still a work in progress, but I'm getting this whole area. It's the nice thing about this room, it's actually 2 rooms, technically. So I have a lot of chalkboards in here. I have some of my Batman stuff, not all of it.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this stuff I've just gotten here and there over the years. Some of it people have gotten for me. This is my desk.
And then we got the Funko Pops over here, I see.
This is a lot of stuff that students have bought me.
Okay, yeah.
My girlfriend got me this. She said, hey, this looks like a Halloween candy thing, but I have too much candy that I hand out to put in there. But I said, hey, it's a decoration. This is where I have some books and some more Batman stuff.
Now, do you have a place, you know, because you're a comic book guy, you have a place where you keep your comic books? Is that like a home
I do,
thing?
yeah.
Do you have like a whole shelf for that? Or
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, actually keep them in a box in cardboard and plastic and
Okay.
stuff. Yeah, I know.
There you go.
I know. I don't collect those as much as I used to. I have a lot of digital ones now.
Yeah.
So those are easier, you know, to carry around, and I can read them anywhere. So that's kind of nice.
So thank you so much for letting us come up to your classroom. And that's quite a collection. And anytime you want to decorate my classroom or my office, you know, you're welcome to. So I wish I was cool like you and had all that music stuff. But talk to us about music. And you love Rush.
Oh, yeah.
And also you play music on a weekly basis?
Pretty much, yeah. It's not every weekend, but it's quite often. I mean, it's the funnest second job I've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starting my shrine to Rush. I haven't gotten it done yet, but it's a work in progress, like a lot of things. And having, you know, moved rooms over the summer, because I just felt like I'd gotten my room downstairs where I wanted it.
It was looking nice.
To be, you know, and
it was looking great.
it's funny that people come in and say, wow, this room is really cool. And I look at it and I'm like, is it? I am not a decorator at all. I just put up things that I think are cool and kind of relate, and things that I like that I think the students will relate to.
Well, I think that's the key. That's the thing that I see when I see a room is it's all these things that mean a lot to you, especially the Rush stuff, but also the Batman stuff.
Yep.
I know you're a big Batman fan and stuff. But talk to us about you have a band, right? And you play. What do you play in that band?
I play bass, like at the concert last year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the Black History concert.
There you go.
You,
I'm like, it was in February. It went right on my brain.
Yeah, so those of you who don't know, we had a Black History concert here at Northside Middle School. That was a really fun thing. We had some people that were friends of Mr. Williams and friends of the school, but also it was really cool to see you and Mr. Farber being that. Dr. Reynolds was playing trombone.
Yes, that was pretty awesome.
A couple other people
Yeah.
too. Mr. Sprouse and I got to work the sound booth for you guys, and you guys are all just professionals. It was awesome. But what got you into bass? Rush is obviously a bass-heavy band, so it does not surprise me that you like Rush. But.
Yeah, a lot of it when I was a kid has just always been a music thing. My mom, both of her parents were, my grandfather, her dad, was a bluegrass musician.
Oh, really?
Not my style of music by any stretch of the imagination, but it takes a lot of talent to play a banjo well. And he played banjo and he played acoustic, and his wife, my grandmother, sang. My dad's parents, my grandfather played trumpet for the Dorsey Brothers Band.
Really?
And he was on one of their albums in the late 30s,
You
I want
have
to say.
to be kidding me.
No.
I
And
have
Do you?
Dorsey Brother albums.
Yeah.
I do at home.
He played the trumpet for them on one of their, I can't remember which one, I'd be a liar if I said I could, but I know he played on one of those, and that's how he met my grandmother. She was a jazz singer.
Wow.
And that's how they got to know each other. So it's in my family quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I grew up around music, and, somewhere in my high school, because that was when MTV was big. If you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, MTV played music videos when it started. And that was the thing. I mean, that was the currency with which you talked to the people at school the next day. Oh, did you see the latest of this video, that video? I mean, it was a big deal because everybody had MTV. So that's when, when you start daydreaming, I wanted to be a rock star, of course. So that's when I picked up and started playing.
Yeah. Did Rush have, that's going to show how much I don't know about Rush. But you've got me to listen to some of the albums. And like I said, first thing I told you, if you remember, I was like, this is bass heavy. I like it. Like,
yeah.
It's got,
Yeah.
But did Rush have some music videos?
Oh, yes.
Is that how you got into them originally? Was MTV or?
Originally, I remember being 10. It was 1977. And I was on my way to see Star Wars for the 4 millionth time. They showed it at the Eastwood Theater. My dad worked at Ford on the east side of Indianapolis. And they showed it at the Eastwood Theater for a year straight.
Wow.
I think I saw it 24 times or something like that. But
Wow.
And I heard Fly By Night on the radio. The album had come out in '75, but it wasn't on my radar. And I heard that. I said, Dad, who's that? And it said, well, that was Rush, Fly By Night. He got me the 8-track the next day. And I've loved him ever since.
Wow. Do you still have the 8-track?
I don't. I wish I did.
See,
I wish.
My band that I really got into, and this is a side that I don't share a whole lot of times, but I am now coming back to being this, but I was a country fan back in middle school. And the band that I really liked was Rascal Flatts, but that's a band that made me want to play bass.
Sure.
And I found, no joke, just the other day, the CD, the burnt CD, because I didn't pay for the original one.
Well, you were in middle school, yeah.
Yeah, the burnt CD of one of my favorite Rascal Flatts albums on there. So I know people who have like that original thing, like whether it was cassette tape, which wear out, or 8 tracks and stuff,
yeah.
or records. I mean, which that's a whole different story. But I didn't know if you still had that 8 tracks. So that's awesome. And I didn't know you came from such a musical family.
Yeah.
It's all clicking now. It's the whole point of Tea Time with Mr. T. We're getting
There
to
you
know
go.
a little bit more about you and about the Rush album and all that stuff. Sophia, let's go back to Sophia here in the control booth as we close. You guys have one more question for Mr. Harter while he's still here with us?
Yes. You forgot something on the script.
Oh no. This is me getting in trouble. Oh no. What did I forget?
Talk about eSports.
Oh, yes. How in the world? All right. Hunter, come back to me. All right. How in the world could I forget? And thank you, Sophia, I told you she's running the show here.
Yeah, I am.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. So, eSports, all right? We started these two things around the same time,
Yeah,
didn't we?
we did indeed, yeah.
eSports, so probably going into its 4th year?
Third.
3rd year, okay.
Yep.
So Titan TV is about to go into its 4th year in January, and I think eSports started right after that. Why did it start? How did it start? And how's it going now?
Okay, why did it start? I'm a big gamer. I enjoy video games, I always have. It keeps my mind occupied, and it's one of those things that I love. I knew I'd gone to a conference with Mr. Spradlin,
No, yes.
And
Steve
he and I
Spradlin.
had gotten talking because I was teaching English at the time. And he found out what a big computer nerd I am. And we had lots of conversations over that year. And he invited me to that HEC conference. And one of the things they had was on the benefits of esports. And I thought, wait a minute, here we go.
The light bulb went
I
off.
can do this, yeah. So, and that was coincidentally enough, Mr. Grimm came to me and said, hey, I have this computer science class that I need somebody to teach. Would you be happy to do that? I'm like, oh, heck yeah.
So you went to the HEC conference.
And about 3 weeks later,
wow.
it was, and I think to give Mr. Grimm a lot of credit, he did need someone to teach that class, and he had been talking with Mr. Spradlin, and he knew that he had invited me, and he said, well, hey, if you're tech savvy and you're a tech guy, and you like this kind of thing, maybe you would like to teach this class. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love teaching that class. I have so much fun with it because I tie it into gaming. There's so many similarities there. A lot of the things that you learn could directly, come from gaming. So that's something that I really enjoyed.
Right, right.
So when I went creeping around the building, as I want to do when I have an idea, I talked to Mr. Grimm about it first. He was the principal at the time. And he said, look, if we have equipment here, okay, because it had to be a club.
Right.
So I found computers up in the computer lab that no one was using.
Yeah.
They weren't the greatest, but they had a pretty good processor in them, and they would run Rocket League. So I asked him if I could steal those, and then he moved me into the room that I was in last year in 109 or 108. I went from 109 to 108. And I said, hey, can I do this thing? And they were like, well, how much is it going to cost us? And I said, well, $0, because computers are free. You already got them, and Rocket League's free. And they're like, sure,
Right.
go ahead. So that's how I started.
And I remember when you announced that, I mean, that's one of those clubs of it blew up to begin with, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing about
Yeah.
Titan TV, was it cracks me up of because this all used to be a club and people were just like, no one wants to do that. Who wants to, be on camera and stuff? And then it got to the place where we were having to turn people away. Now it's a class. But esports, I mean, when they said, when you announced you're doing esports, I mean, everybody was just like, yes, sign me up. Where's this been the whole time? So start out with Rocket League. And now we're doing Rocket League, doing Minecraft now this fall.
Yes.
And so
Yep.
how's that whole process go? You go against other schools and stuff like that?
Indeed, yeah. I work with the Indiana eSports Network, and lots of schools do. They set up the matches. So Minecraft is going to be a 5 versus 5 capture the wool. So our team will play against other middle school teams. The thing I love about that is like with, basketball or football, you have to like put your kids on a bus and go to other schools. This one you don't.
Right.
They can all come to my room and you play them online, and it's awesome.
Also, practicing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing that all the time.
Yep. And I mean, we have matches usually at 4:30. So they come and practice from 4 to 4:30, and then we play games.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
Wow. So, and then you've got new equipment. I mean, and actually, you were, like I said, you were nice enough to let us come up and see that. And so we've got a clip of you showing us all the new esports equipment you got just recently. So let's take a look at that. So behind us here, we've got the esports stuff, because you started out as a club, but it's grown into this. So show us, what is all this new stuff that you have here, and all the neat features of it? I see it's glowing lights.
Yes, they have the RGB lighting of it all. These are the new computers that the IT department worked with me to get made.
Do you see this this mouse here? Look at that.
We got gaming keyboards and gaming mice, and the company that built it, because the IT department really did a great job. I ended up getting the grant money, and then they helped us. These are ours. I mean, they are Northside Middle School. You can see they etched our logo on the side of it.
Wow.
And these are pretty fast. They have one of the top graphics cards, RTX 4090 Ti. So it's 4060 Ti.
Wow.
So it's pretty fast. I mean, used to be when I would do the old ones, I had 7th period prep.
Yeah.
And I would click on Rocket League before the end of the day.
And wait for that thing to
And
load.
2 or 3 minutes later, it would pop up. I mean, this bad boy, it would literally take almost 5 minutes. This bad boy, I click on Rocket League, and I mean, it's hardly any time at all before it comes up. We're running it at ultra high graphics with everything turned on. It's far better than it was in the past. So, yeah, I mean, you can see
Look at
it's
that
already.
thing. It's already popped up. Look at that.
Yep.
Wow. That's and nice screens here too. I mean,
Yes.
This is great.
Yep.
Season 12. They're on season 12 already.
Yeah.
I think I played last ones on season 3.
Yeah, these are 27-inch screens with 144 hertz refresh rate on them. They're top of the line gaming, kind of awesome.
Man.
So I'm hoping to make this into like a sport like any other sport we have.
Right.
Where kids will want to come here to be on our esports team. This is my hope.
So that's awesome. Esports is taking off. What's the future? What's the future of esports? What would you like to see happen?
Well, the equipment was the biggest thing because I wanted to offer more titles, but we were restricted by the actual, PCs we had at the time.
Right.
Thankfully, through a lot of work, because as I tell people, I'm too stupid to give up. I'm gonna make it happen if I want it to happen, and thankfully I did. I got a hold of some really nice people, and I bugged enough people that they were like, "Shut this guy up and just give him $12,000 and get him out of my face." So I was able to get a grant for $12,000. Yeah.
Is that the way to get money? Is
Pretty
for them
much.
to say, "Shut this guy up"?
Pretty much. Just give it to him and
Hold
just
on,
let him go away.
Let me make a note of this.
It's all about being persistent because again, it took me over 2 years to get this going.
Right.
But now I have 6 brand new computers that are smoking fast. So now I can offer every title that they will allow middle schools to play. So that's a big step in the right direction. I have a 7th one that I bought components for. They allowed me to buy that one in pieces because I want to show the esports team how to put one together.
Oh, that's
because it's really fun. I think it's going to be kind of cool. And then I'll use that computer to hook up to the 3D printer I have so that becomes an enrichment opportunity for my classes. If they get their work done, hey, check out the 3D printer, see what you can do.
The opportunities that you're creating for these students is just amazing. I mean, I would have loved to have had that. You know what computers was for me, and I'm sure it was different for you too. It was computer class. It was here's how you make a PowerPoint. Here's how you type.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. Let's put a cover over it and all this stuff. So it's so crazy how it's coming far away, and you're creating amazing opportunities for students, and so that's fantastic.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but I'm trying. But I think you and I both are on the same mindset that it's like, wouldn't this have been cool to have this when we were in school? So we kind of go, you know what I mean? Because this, not for nothing, dude, this is awesome. I mean, what you created here is pretty spectacular.
Well, I appreciate that, but I think I both would say, it's also the fact that the students show up and have this interest. I mean, that's what makes it.
Yeah, that's what makes it all go.
All the fun
You bet.
things. So, Mr. Harter, thank you so much. I want to personally say, on the same line of that you've been fantastic. We used to do Titan TV. What do we call that? Studio 304, I think, or 10 something. Boy, I should remember that. We were right next to your room, and you were nothing but supportive of what we were doing there, and you even have appeared on some of our broadcasts. So thank you for being a support for us over here at Titan TV. And what I'm excited for is that and I'm telling you, we are doing this. We are going to live stream eSport events here in the spring. So you've been asking, same thing. You've been saying, been bugging me each. No, it's been something on the radar. We did.
We've talked about it.
Yeah, and so I think we're at the point now, and you guys are at the point where we can definitely do that. And so I'm very excited for that.
I am too.
And I'm excited for what eSports keeps growing into, because I keep thinking you're done, and then it grows into other things. So the last thing I want to ask you is this, because a lot of students have you, for class and stuff, and you're one of those teachers that I just hear a whole lot about in my other classes and stuff when they talk. I know, it's making you uncomfortable, but you're one of those teachers that I always hear students talk about, and so you mean a lot to them. What's any advice you have for them as they go through their 6th, 7th, and 8th grade years here and beyond? What's any advice that you might have for them?
Try to be patient with yourself. You're not done yet. One of the things I hear middle schoolers, especially middle school boys, worry about is how tall they are. You're not done yet, man. Just be patient. Hang in there for a few more years. You'll get there. And I think the problem is they're assuming that taller is better. It's not. It's just taller. Just believe in yourself and understand that you can do anything you set your mind to do. If I can do it, if I can get a college degree, anybody can. I'm just saying. You don't have to. That's not everybody's cup of tea. I get it. Find that thing that you love and figure out how to make a living doing it, and you will be a lot happier.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, Mr. Harter, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
I appreciate
It's
it.
been fun. This has
Thank
been
you
fun.
guys. You have been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're very welcome.
Sophia, if we can go back to you guys in control booth one more time. Did we get anything? Are we good? Do we remember everything?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, so thank you so much for joining us for Tea Time with Mr. D, the first installment. My guest today was Mr. Harter, and it's been a great time. I hope we've learned some more about who Mr. Harter is, and I can't wait to see who else joins us here in the studio. Thank you to, of course, Sophia and her crew. Show that one more time. Show you guys' camera one more time. Wave to the camera. You get to actually look at them. So thank you to all of them there.
There you go.
Definitely check out their names here in the credits. And please make sure to like and subscribe and check out the clips we have from this and even maybe some behind the scenes of what happened today. But thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next time. And as I always say, this is my catchphrase.
Okay, here we go.
You ready? I've been doing this since I was in high school. And as I always say, the future is very bright. We'll see you guys next time on the credits.
Wait, why did you wink?
Why what?
Why did I wink? I didn't
The
wink.
wink was weird.
The
What
wink
are you
was the
talking
best
about,
part.
Sophia? I didn't wink. What are you talking about? What wink? I wouldn't do that.
And that's one of the things that I love about her. She will just straight up tell
She
you,
just
dude,
says it. The
dude,
wink was weird.
Dude, that was just bizarre.